You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer from the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the San Francisco Giants, or should I say the Comeback Kids, pulled out another come-from-behind win in Pittsburgh as they win the rubber match 7-6 at PNC Park. And they entered that 8th inning trailing by 4 runs, but another 3-run dong from Matt Chapman fueled a 5-run inning and ultimately led to another Giants win and a series win out in Pittsburgh. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, however you're getting the show. We appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. I mean, I thought this was going to be Joey Bart revenge game. That's what I was coming at. That was kind of my angle coming into, later in this game. We were starting to think about what the show's going to be about. And man, oh man, another huge 8th inning comeback. And we've talked about earlier in this season how when the Giants fell behind big early in this season, like 4 or 5 runs behind, it just felt like they were dead in the water. No chance at coming back. And all of a sudden, now that the youth is here, now that Matt Chapman's hitting well, now that Jorge Soler is hitting well, it seems like there's no lead too big for this Giants team to come back from. And wow, what a stark turnaround this team has shown in this last month. I mean, you go from Matt Chapman and Jorge Soler both batting below 200. Now, Matt Chapman is one of the hottest hitters in baseball. And don't look now, but Jorge Soler picked up some more RBIs today, and he's heating up too. Plus, obviously, the youth of Matos, Luciano, Ramos, it's really propelling this team to new heights offensively, something that we didn't think was going to be possible without Jung-Hoo Lee at the top of the lineup. The Giants have shown that they are resilient. This is a very resilient group. You remember when they did the Resilient SF? That wasn't my favorite Giants branding that we've had the last few years, but that kind of describes what this team is doing right now. They've been the comeback kids these last 2 days. They've trailed by 4 runs in both these games, win both of them. Both of these games, they give up grand slams, and they win both of them. This has been a very fun 2 days for the San Francisco Giants. And they win this series, and it looks like they might be swept at the midway point of yesterday's game. But prior to that, Matos run in the 9th inning really seemed like the Giants might lose this series in a sweep. Instead, they pull out a 2-1 series victory over the Pirates, just their 3rd series win in road series this season. So that's a very good sign for the Giants. They go to Citi Field next tomorrow to face the New York Mets before returning home. They might be able to pick up another series win and make that make this road record look a lot better by the time that they return to Oracle than it was when they left. And the Giants today, let's go over some key moments. It started out not great. Again, in order to get these comeback wins, you got to fall down behind early. So the forever Giant, there were 3 forever Giants, well, 2 forever Giants and 1 Giants prospect that hit home runs against the Giants in this one. Andrew McCutchen, Joey Bart, and Brian Reynolds all go yard. And that just kind of hurts if you're a Giants fan. All these guys, Reynolds never played with the big league club, but all 3 of these guys were big parts of the Giants organization at some point, at one point in the past. Brian Reynolds was probably the best outfield prospect the Giants have had in 20 years. And now he's in a perennial all-star in Pittsburgh. That's sad, man. Anyways, Andrew McCutchen leads this one off with a leadoff home run in the bottom of the 1st inning, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that was just a meatball right down the middle of the plate. You can't do that to a guy like Andrew McCutchen. 1-0 Pirates lead after that bottom of the 1st home run. In the 4th, the Giants get that run back after a Thairo Estrada walk, and a Chapman single puts the runners at the corners. With 1 out and a productive out from Jorge Soler, scores Thairo Estrada. And that's one of the, I feel like recently I have not talked about a sequence that resulted in a Giants run in which both Jorge Soler and Matt Chapman were both involved. It feels like both of these guys are getting so much more involved in this Giants lineup, making a difference in the middle of that order. And it, again, makes this team so different when you have these two big free agent acquisitions actually starting to hit. Matt Chapman, not just starting to hit. Jorge Soler is starting to come around. Matt Chapman has come all the way around, man. This guy is on fire, absolutely on fire. We'll get to his heroics in a minute, but in the bottom of the fourth, more Pirates runs. Mason Black loads the bases without giving up a hit. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. And then up comes old pal Joey Bart to just smash a 2-out grand slam. He obliterated that ball, man. 434 feet, 109.7 off the bat. His 4th home run of the season. Joey Bart looks like he's finding a spot in Pittsburgh. That makes me happy, man, because I thought this guy was going to be a big part of the Giants' future. I like the guy. He seems like a pretty personal dude. I think he kind of had a rough go of it, as did a lot of guys who were projected to be very, very high draft picks and were very high draft picks prior to COVID. That COVID year really ruined a lot of draft picks, including guys like Joey Bart, who really, really, really needed those reps. He never really seemed to find his footing as a big league catcher in San Francisco. Didn't seem like he was ever going to live up to those expectations. It's nice to see a guy like Joey Bart, who's genuinely a good dude. I've had a couple conversations with him over the years, but he's out there in Pittsburgh. He's always seemed like a nice guy. He's a very respectful guy. And it's just one of those guys you want to root for. And so I'm happy for Joey Bart personally. It's a bummer that he's in such a small market in Pittsburgh, but some guys need that. Maybe that's better for his head, that he's not in a bigger market in San Francisco, doesn't have the highest draft pick of the franchise in the last like 20 years tag attached to him out there in Pittsburgh. So good for Joey Bart. The Giants, though, 5-1 deficit after that grand slam. In the 5th inning, it looked like it was going to get even worse. Pirates put 2 runners on with 1 out, and that was the end of it for Mason Black. He didn't start this one. Eric Miller did, but he did come in as the bulk pitcher in the 2nd inning. He couldn't last past the 5th, and that's kind of a bummer. I think Mason Black could really benefit from some more starts in the minor leagues. Seems like when he misses bad. And when that slider, that sweeper, isn't sweeping, it's getting smacked around for some hits. He only got 3 swing and misses in his entire outing tonight. Only 1 swing and miss on that sweeper. It really wasn't sweeping too much today, man. You saw guys just tattooing that pitch all over the yard. A fastball got hit around too. So Mason Black, I think, needs to, you can see the stuff is there. He just needs to work on his location, much the same as Blake Snell was showing earlier this season. I mean, Mason Black is not Blake Snell. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying 2 guys with electric stuff that have problems locating right now. Mason Black needs some more time in AAA. I was hoping this season that we wouldn't see him until around the All-Star break and maybe even after, because I thought he needed that much more time to ramp up. Lo and behold, the Giants have like 100 injuries, and you all of a sudden need starting pitchers. Got like a whole starting pitching staff on the IL right now, man. And by the way, Blake Snell did hit the paternity list. The Giants recalled Nick Avila back to the big league squad. And I know a lot of people are getting frustrated with Snell, but really, we are in May. Like, relax. He will be fine. He will contribute down the stretch. The Giants are going to need that, because this is a team that looks like they might be able to make a playoff run based on how they're playing lately. That's insane to me, man. Completely insane. Baseball season is so long and winding. There's so many twists and turns. You can be out of the playoffs and then a World Series contender in the same season. Completely insane. Shout out the Phillies and the Braves from recent World Series appearances. And man, this Giants team just giving us some hope finally. And in the top of the 7th, Elliot Ramos gave us some hope to win this game with a solo shot. His 2nd of the season shrunk that Pirates lead to just 3 after they were trailing 5-1. The solo shot makes it 5-2, 105 miles an hour off the bat, 409 feet over the left field wall. Not a cheap shot by any means. Ramos, his 2nd home run of the year with the big league squad. Don't ever send him back to AAA Sacramento. We got to say it every time. Don't do it. Don't ever do it again. Brian Reynolds in the bottom of the 7th. I told you, all three former Giants organization guys with the Pirates homered. Brian Reynolds in the bottom of the 7th. That was when his came. 7th of the season. Pirates go up 6-2. And it seemed like that was kind of a big run at the time, because in the 8th inning, Matt Chapman comes up and hits a 3-run bomb. And man, oh man, this guy is red hot. We'll get into some of his more advanced metrics and break down some of his stats on the other side. But to get through some more of these highlights from this game, Matt Chapman, that 3-run bomb was his 8th of the season, 102.7 miles an hour off the bat, 407 feet to center field. That 3-run shot made it 6-5. Giants still trailed by 1, and that Reynolds home run was looming large. By the way, I should mention that Reynolds home run came off of everybody's favorite Giant right now, Luke Jackson. So if you're unhappy with Luke Jackson, I feel you. I'm not super stoked with him right now either. I don't think he should be used in these high leverage situations. I don't think the Giants really wanted to use him there, but their bullpen was gassed today, and they needed every arm that they had, especially in a bullpen game. Mason Black was not able to, as I said, they pitched Eric Miller to start this game, hoping to get Mason Black some more run, hoping that he doesn't have to face that top of the order multiple times until later in the game. Didn't really work for the Giants, and Melvin had to adjust. He ended up throwing a lot more relievers in this one than I think he wanted to. In credit to Bob Melvin, he navigated this game pretty well, because that Luke Jackson run ended up not hurting him. And to Bob Melvin's credit, he chose Luke Jackson in the higher leverage situation over Randy Rodriguez earlier this series. Instead, we get Randy Rodriguez in the high leverage situation over Luke Jackson tonight after the 8th inning, when the Giants ended up taking the lead, because after that Matt Chapman 3-run bomb, Jorge Soler doubles to keep the rally going, man. And Wilmer Flores singles the opposite way to knock in Jorge Soler and tie it at 6 apiece. And you love to see Jorge Soler knocking in some extra base hits and picking up some runs, keeping the line moving in a rally. This guy's been a rally stopper all season long, and it's just not the case right now. Jorge Soler contributing to these Giants wins very directly. That tied it at 6 apiece, but the Giants rally wasn't done there, as Marco Luciano gets on base, and then Joey Bart lets the ball hit the backstop like 2 or 3 times in that inning. They weren't all pass balls, but Joey Bart, not a very good defensive catcher. We know this as Giants fans. We have Patrick Bailey back there, one of the best defensive catchers in baseball, and night and day difference between those guys. And Matt, remember back to when Pat Bailey took over for Joey Bart and how different that felt. And I know Joey Bart wasn't really the everyday catcher. I mean, he kind of was. He was splitting time back there, though, with a few different guys. But when Bailey really took that job and ran with it, it felt so different from those other guys who were back there. Blake Sable, Joey Bart, even Kirk Casale, who's a pretty good defensive catcher in his own right. Pat Bailey back there is a world of difference. Point being, we all know the defensive limitations that Joey Bart has, and it cost the Pirates in this one, as it allowed Luciano to get to third base without really doing a whole lot. And Brett Wisely knocks him in. Brett Wisely, have a day, man. Pretty good series for Wisely, who just got up here from AAA, and it gave the Giants a 7-6 lead. Brett Wisely drives in Marco Luciano to give the Giants the go-ahead run. The youth is here, man. I mean, listen to these names that we're throwing out. We got Mason Black, Eric Miller. Brett Wisely, Marco Luciano, Elliot Ramos. Luis Matos had an okay game too. He wasn't having a NL Player of the Week type game. He did pick up 1 hit in his 5 plate appearances. You want to see him maybe get knock in a couple hits when he gets that many at bats in one game from the leadoff spot. But I mean, he still keeps hitting. You're not going to knock a guy for getting on base. So all of the Giants youth again contributing to yet another win. As I said, Randy Rodriguez came out in the 8th inning after the Giants took that lead. And this is the highest leverage situation the Giants have used him in all season long. And I want to see more of this. He was a former closer in the minor leagues, and he pitched great today after pitching in back-to-back days. He pitched yesterday too. This is a great sign, especially for a guy who throws gas like that. It's tough to navigate multiple days of work as a reliever like that, who I'm sure he's not used to doing that very much in AAA. And as I said, the most high pressure situation he's seen so far in the bigs. He got some help though, man, because in that 8th inning, Matt Chapman made 2 all-world level plays. It's exactly what Dave Fleming called him if you were listening to the broadcast on NBC Sports Bay Area. Matt Chapman, he's a platinum glover for a reason, man. He put that on display in the 8th inning, making two platinum glove level plays. I mean, this guy, might be the second consecutive Giants player to win NL Player of the Week if he keeps it up. I mean, if he has a great series against the Mets, I don't see how he doesn't win this. This dude's just hitting bombs left and right, extra base hits, balls flying off his bat at like 110 miles an hour every time he touches it. And then he's doing this in the field. This is exactly what the Giants have needed from Matt Chapman. And I mean, he is playing, if you're just looking at these last couple series, honestly, at an all-star level right now. Like, nobody in baseball is playing as good as Matt Chapman played in this series. In the last couple series, he's completely turned his season around. In the ninth inning, Tyler Rogers comes in to close it out. Duvall's pitched a lot this week. So Rogers comes in, gets the save. Luciano, though, another error at short in the ninth inning on a routine ground ball. He did make up for it as he made a nice tag. Pat Bailey hoses Ji-Hwan Bae, trying to steal second base after the Luciano error put him on first safely. And Luciano had to come off the bag, caught that ball cleanly, and made a nice tag. I mean, that was nice. He had to move off his spot and still make the play. Made up for the bad one just seconds earlier. The Giants close it out. The 7-6 win over the Pirates in Pittsburgh. Another rubber game victory for the Giants. 5-1 in rubber games now this year with that win. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we got to break down some Matt Chapman, man. This dude, Chappie, has just been destroying pitchers lately, and we got to talk about it, as he did again today with his 3-run bomb in the 8th inning that propelled the Giants to this win. We're going to take a quick break. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app will actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I love the last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy, whatever you're into. I just got in on these last-minute deals last week as I went out to Oracle Park to see a Jordan Hicks start. It was great. Sat down in premier lower box, and it was very, very affordable, much more so than when you buy your tickets without this last-minute deal. Zone deals are also pretty sweet. If you know you want to go see the Giants and you know you want to sit in a specific part of the yard, I love sitting out in the left field bleachers, getting a little rowdy. Or I also really like sitting up on the arcade in the on the right field wall. Can't really pick a bad spot at Oracle Park, but if you just choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats, you can save even more with those zone deals. And of course, you got to love the all-in pricing. Make sure to toggle this feature on to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. I hate surprise fees, so this sounds great to me. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And today's show is also sponsored by FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. You can also get in on some MLB lines too. The Giants were getting 1.5 runs in this one. They were 1.5 run underdogs, and I like that bet heading into today. They're outright winners. Hopefully you got in on that, and hopefully you got in on the over on total runs as well. The Giants offense has been hot. Smash that over on total runs. The line for that was 8 heading into this one. They blew by that. They got to 13 total runs in this one. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants, another cardiac comeback win, 7-6 victory after trailing by 4 runs in this one, and Matt Chapman's 3-run bomb invigorated this Giants team for that comeback, and Ramos got in on 1-2, sent one out over the fence. The whole Giants team really hitting. LaMonte Jr. getting on base at a very, very high clip. Is he an all-star this year? We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But first, we need to talk about Matt Chapman, because man, oh man, this guy, this guy, dude. Since this month, he's really turned the page. He is looking so much better up there. He just looks comfortable at the dish. He looks like he's seeing the ball. He's been hitting the ball pretty solidly all season long. And against lefties, he is raking. 348 in the box. His OPS over 1,000 against lefties. He's got 6 doubles, 2 bombs. And that's a really good sign. And also against righties, his batting average dips a little bit, down to 211, but the power is there. 5 home runs against righties, 7 doubles. He's really been turning it around this month, though. In May, he's batting 282 this month after batting just 212 the entire month of April. The OPS this month up near 900. It's 871, slugging 493. All of these numbers starting to climb for Matt Chapman. He's got 10 RBIs this month. He's got 3 home runs and he's got 6 doubles. We still got like a week left in this month too. All of those numbers are as good or better than what he posted in the month of April. So Matt Chapman has really turned a corner, and it's been more so these last couple series. I mean, more specifically, Matt Chapman, last night he hit another home run. Today he hit another home run. He had 2 RBIs last night. He had 3 more today, I believe. Let me double check this. Yeah, correct. 3 more today. Sorry, I lost my place there on my notes. 3 more RBIs for Matt Chapman today. Coming into this one, he was 11 for 18 with 10 runs scored, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He was in his last 5 games. This is unreal numbers for Matt Chapman. And now in 6 games, you can add more to that. He's got 2 bombs, and this guy's just going nuts at the dish. And prior to this one, in his last 5 games, he brought his batting average from 206 to 245 for Matt Chapman. Now it's 249. So just in this last span of 5-6 games, he's changed his batting average 50 points. This guy is on a tear right now. His slugging all the way up to his OPS, all the way up to 753. Matt Chapman really making a mark for this Giants team. It's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. This 12-13 game stretch he's completely flipped a switch. Defensively, he's been right all season long. He did have that one road trip where he had like 2 or 3 errors in the one road trip. That was very un-Matt Chapman-like. But you saw today what he can do in the field. You saw yesterday. You remember that screaming line drive that he slid and went to the backhand, and he didn't field it completely cleanly, but knocked it down right in front of him, popped up and fired a strike over to first base. He just did. He's turning all-star level plays in the field over and over and over again. Just makes him look routine. In that 8th inning in this one, he was so far deep in that hole, going to his left, and made like a nice play that he had no business getting to that ball. Made a perfect throw as he spun out of that tough angle to just fire one over there. And he just makes it look easy, man. He makes it look so smooth. And these are not easy plays. Matt Chapman doing it on both sides of the field for the Giants, at the dish and in the field. Matt Chapman right now, if you're giving out MVPs for the Pirates series, I think it's Matt Chapman. You love the youth. You love to see what Ramos, Matos, Luciano, all these young guys bring. But all that's going to go to waste if you don't have your veterans contributing. And Matt Chapman, he's got to drive the bus. There are all these other guys on the team that can contribute and make this Giants team a playoff contender. But if Matt Chapman isn't the one driving the bus like he has been lately, this team's got no shot to be a postseason contender. With him playing the way he is, with Soler starting to step up the way he is, this team's right back in it, man. And I'm shocked. I'm eating the crow, man. I thought I came on here after the Jung-Hoo Lee injury, and when the Giants were just decimated with injuries, and said, I have no idea how this team comes back from this. I don't know how they claw back and become a playoff contender anymore. I really didn't. I thought the best they could do was maybe get back to 500 on the season. Man, was I wrong. This youth movement has completely taken the Giants by full force. And we thought this was happening last year. We talked a lot about the youth movement last year on the Murph and Mac show, if you guys tuned into that. But it never really seemed to get the traction. Casey Schmidt, up and down all season long. Matos and Ramos last year were, Luciano had a cup of coffee up in the big leagues, didn't do a whole lot. All of these guys last year looked to be too soon. This year, they're hitting their stride. but Matt Chapman is driving the bus, and all these other contributions would kind of be wasted if it wasn't for Matt Chapman's effectiveness lately. And don't look now, but Jorge Soler is coming around too. Picked up another RBI in this one, another extra base hit, scored a very key run, scored the tying run in the 8th inning. I mean, for him to come back up and hit a double right after the bases cleared from that Matt Chapman home run, that was a huge moment in this game because it kept the line moving, kept the rally going, kept the Giants' hopes alive, and lo and behold, it leads directly to a Giants win. Can't forget that Ramos has smacked that home run in this one as well. Obviously, big contribution. They don't win without that home run in this game. This Giants team is fun. All of a sudden, they're no longer boring. They're no longer bad. They're fun. Got to take a quick break here on the other side. Real quick LaMonte Wade Jr. breakdown. I think this guy's making a strong case to make the All-Star team. Another guy who's really, really helping drive the bus. Like there's like a pilot and a co-pilot for this bus. Matt Chapman, LaMonte Wade Jr. Those are the two pilot, co-pilot right there. We'll explain more on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from around the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick Anthony Edwards, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants come from behind. Another win, 7-6 over the Pirates in the rubber match. And I'm just looking back through the comments here to find the one I saw earlier, and here it is. Nicholas, my guy, LaMonte Wade, an all-star this season. I completely agree, dude. I mean, the way this guy is playing right now is nuts. And it's kind of been quiet all season long. LaMonte Wade Jr. has reached base safely in 21 of his last 22 games now, and over that stretch coming into this one, his prior 21 games, he was batting .321 with an on-base percentage of .506. That's, by far the best in the bigs as far as on-base percentage goes. His 19 walks this month, the most in the National League, second most in all of baseball. And he entered today with a .484 on-base percentage, leading all of baseball. It's 50 points higher than the next closest guy. All this guy does is get on base. He also ranks 4th in the majors with coming into this one with a .336 batting average. Lamont, and he picked up some more hits tonight. He's up to .339 now. This guy, his OPS is .911. This guy is doing work in the batter's box all season long. This guy's got like just a perfect vision for his strike zone. I haven't seen a guy with this much like strike zone control or a feel for it since, honestly, in a Giants uniform, since Barry Bonds. This guy, if it's not a strike, if LaMonte Wade Jr. doesn't swing, I trust him more than the umpire. Like LaMonte Wade Jr. in his second life could have just been the best umpire in all of baseball, like the antithesis of Angel Hernandez, if he so chose to. But instead, he's going to be an all-star first baseman for the Giants this year, and I really think he will be, because LaMonte Wade Jr. has done everything that this team has asked him to do. When they've slumped, he's been the one model of consistency throughout this whole season. LaMonte Wade Jr. doing work at first base too. He's been pretty solid defensively. He's had a couple nice picks this year, something he's never been bad at, but has never really been exceptionally good. And when you're used to the Brandon Belts and the JT Snows that we've had at first base for what feels like the last 20 years, it can be a tough adjustment. And to LaMonte Wade Jr.'s credit, he's done pretty well for a guy who's not really like a full-time first baseman. The Giants have turned him into that, and I need to see this guy in the order every single day. Melvin kind of uses him, plays to the splits a little bit. I don't care if it's a lefty or a righty on the mound. I want LaMonte Jr. out there every day. Don't care about the lefty-righty matchup. His plate vision, it's gonna work from guys pitching from either side. It doesn't matter. This guy is so good in the box. His vision is impeccable, and his contact, his bat to ball skills is great. I mean, we talk a lot about Jung-Hoo Lee, or at least we did, and how his bat to ball skills were some of the best in all of baseball. LaMonte Jr. right there with him. He's been really propelling the Giants all season long. I like Matos in the leadoff spot. I don't know why we haven't had LaMonte Jr. batting leadoff at any point in time this year. I mean, we had the whole Jorge Soler experiment with him batting leadoff. I mean, why can't my guy LaMonte Jr. just get in the leadoff spot? All this guy does is get on base. And all that Thairo Estrada and Matt Chapman and Luis Matos have been doing is driving in runs. So I do like that he is batting at the top of the order, towards the top of the order. He's in the 2 hole today. We've seen him there a lot this season. We've also seen him in the 3 hole. I don't really like him there. I think especially the way that some of these other Giants have been playing lately, you gotta keep Estrada, Chapman, and guys like that in that middle of the order. But LaMonte Jr., I think he's an all-star this year. I really do. And that trade that the Giants made to take him from the Twins, what they give up, like Tyler Anderson, I think. I mean, they completely robbed the Twins. So LaMonte Jr. should be an all-star this year if he keeps this up for the Giants. And he's not going to be the only one. If Matt Chapman keeps hitting the way he's hitting, some of these young guys keep playing the way they're playing, they might have an outside shot at making it too. It's been a fun week in Giants baseball. It's been a fun series out in Pittsburgh. The Giants now just one game behind 500, 25-26. They'll have a chance tomorrow to claw their way back to 500. Could be 26-26 after their game tomorrow. They will have to go through the New York Mets as they travel to Citi Field for a 3-game set prior to heading back to Oracle Park. The Giants haven't been very good on the road this year. Maybe this turns their fortune around. Again, we talked about it yesterday. That single swing of the bat by Luis Matos in the 9th inning to get that hustle double prior to LaMonte Jr. driving him in yesterday. That single inning, that single at bat by Luis Matos that just reinvigorated the Giants dugout could have completely turned around their fortune for the entire season. And so at least for this series in Pittsburgh, definitely did that. We thought this was going to maybe be a sweep if the Giants had lost that game going into the 9th inning yesterday. If Luis Matos never rips that 9th inning double that he ends up scoring after, the Giants don't win this series and they maybe get swept, because I don't know if you have the momentum, the energy to come back from a big deficit. If you lose like today, if you lost yesterday and you got 2 games that you're losing in kind of heartbreaking fashion, I don't know if the Giants on getaway day from Pittsburgh would have been able to muster another comeback the way they did today. 2 back-to-back games where they overcome 4-run deficits, back-to-back games where they overcome the Pirates hitting a grand slam. By the way, the Pirates lead all of baseball in grand slams with 4, and they have lost 2 games in this series that they've hit 2 of their grand slams in. So baseball's weird, man. Some of these numbers, man, baseball's weird. To quote the great Marty Lurie, that's baseball. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. I'm making myself laugh. That's all the time we got for you guys today. The Giants with the 7-6 win over the Pirates at PNC Park take the rubber match. Now are 5-1 in rubber matches this season. Giants pretty good closing out series when they have the opportunity to win it. Hopefully they can win a series out in New York as well and return home with a record above 500. Am I crazy? Am I speaking crazy right now? The Giants getting back to 500, maybe even, dare I say, climbing over the 500 mark. Oof, we'll see. It's a big series in New York coming up ahead of the Giants returning home to Oracle Park. So the Giants, 7-6 winners today. Great series win. We need to see him keep it rolling. They're right there. Matt Chapman delivers again. LaMonte Jr., I think he's an all-star, and the comeback kids are a thing. 10 comeback wins for the Giants now on the season. That's all the time we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on the Locked On Giants postcast. Peace.